right, hey folks, I am cruising in a 2020 Corvette C8, and this is your host, Dave Stahl. And let me tell you, if you're gonna go cruising, this is the car to do it in. Now, as you'll be watching this video, you'll see two Corvettes.
What's up, everybody? This is Shad Balch from Chevrolet. This is the car that everybody's talking about. I'm actually following my good buddy Dave Stahl in another Corvette. He's up in a Corvette that has the Z51 performance package on it. And that basically, for about $5,000,
that will bring the price up to around $78,000 and change.
You can add on a whole bunch of performance bits that really turn the vehicle into a track-capable car.
Is it worth it? Absolutely. Go for the gusto.
It's the value of the century. That car up there will do 0 to 60 in about 2.9 seconds. And that's supercar speed.
And performance is unbelievable. It just hauls freight.
It's an amazing car to drive.
Now, here we come. Here comes Shad. He's going to be coming up on us. Look at that. Is that beautiful? Now, if you'll notice, there's no rear wing on that particular car. And that's because of the fact that it's the base model.
This is the mid-engine Corvette, the first mid-engine Corvette that we've ever done. The engine sits right behind me here, the big 6.2 liter V8.
And you might think, oh, well, you know, what's that going to do as far as heat factor goes? There is no heat factor. You don't feel it at all.
Puts out 490 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque.
6.2 liter. I mean, it has got everything you need. But if you just want to drive like a normal person, you can. And I don't know if I mentioned it does, yes, it has paddle shifting.
It's just a rocket ship right out of the showroom floor.
One of the features on the Z51 that's a little bit different than the standard, and that is the braking. The braking on this car, I mean, it's got much larger brakes.
What I love about this car is just the way that it handles on the highway. I'm able to just sit here and cruise, and it just drives like a stick of butter.
The great ride quality of this car is due to the suspension system that Corvette has.
And then with the flick of the switch, you can turn it into a track car.
You can also adjust your suspension if you like. And by adjusting the suspension, you can go from track, and what it does, it changes the whole instrumentation panel. You can back up to sport, and then it changes the dash configuration as well.
This is one of those cars that you hop in just to drive it.
Nothing looks better than this car coming down the road. I mean, the front end is just totally awesome, off the charts. Can't ask for anything better than that.
It's one of those cars that you know that when you're driving it, you just look good.
Great looking car, great styling.
The value proposition for this car is pretty unmatched. There's nowhere that you can find a mid-engine supercar that's capable of this performance number, these performance numbers compared to the Corvette. Less than $60,000 for a big V8 naturally aspirated mid-engine Corvette. This has the DCT, the dual clutch transmission. It's an 8-speed transmission. It's the same one, the same exact system that you'll find in the Z51 performance package. All Corvettes have a dry sump system to make sure that there's no starving for oil. The engineering around this vehicle is just so well done. It's remarkable.
The handling of it, the seat design, the way it's put together suspension-wise, it's just phenomenal. You really can't beat this car at all.
So everything in this vehicle, in the interior, the whole layout has been designed around the driver. So all of the instrument panels.
Plus it has all the technology for all you techno folks out there that like to have Apple CarPlay and all of that. Yeah, you've got all of that, you can do it.
But all of the instruments are laid out so that the driver has access to everything.
And all your controls are on the steering wheel, so you don't have to go hunt and peck and search.
My gauges here, there's a configurable gauge cluster here that can tell me all of the performance information I want. My touch screen system right here allows me to control all the major features of the car. Climate control, audio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. There's a Wi-Fi hotspot in here.
Great sound system.
All the technology exists in this car.
This car is very user-friendly. It'll do pretty much whatever you want it to do.
And then of course, this center strip down the center of the car is all the manual climate control.
And that really, really sets it apart and gives you more room inside.
All laid out for quick and easy access for the driver.
The other thing about this car, different than the C7, is the C8, the driver's cockpit, is much larger than what you would find in the C7. Because with the engine behind me, instead of in front of me, the foot box has been extended, and I'm able to put a 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" foot person in this car with no problem whatsoever.
We've had a lot of questions about the configuration of the steering wheel. It's sort of an odd shape, and it's because we wanted to maintain the line of sight over the dash. Since the engine's in the back, we're able to make the front end much lower, giving the driver greater visibility out of the front of the car. So to make sure that we didn't block it with the steering wheel, we came up with this shape.
It's more of a kind of a
square and circle.
A circle square, or they have a name for it, trust me, they really do.
So, squircle.
Oh, and did I mention it gets 27 miles per gallon on the highway? If you keep your foot out of it, I'm sure. 27 miles per gallon. That is absolutely crazy for a car of this performance level. I gotta tell you folks, if you're looking for a supercar, and this is truly a supercar, you gotta look at this car.
This is one of the most highly anticipated vehicles of all time, and it's great when there's that much anticipation and it doesn't let you down.
It can be fast, it can be nimble, you can take it up to Julian, you can go through the twisties in this thing, and it'll just put a smile on your face.
I'll go cruising in this car anytime. So when we revealed this car a year ago, last July, this is the car that everybody just lost their mind over, because for the first time you're able to get a mid-engine supercar for under 60 grand.
Unbelievable.
The difference between what you have over here is yours has the Z51 performance package on it.
Right.
So for about 5 grand more, you can get all of the performance bits: exhaust, air intake, oil coolers, brakes, tires, things like that.
But we're only talking, what? How much in 0 to 60 time?
0 to 60 on this car is about 2.9 seconds.
And on this one?
This one's around 3 seconds, so not much difference.
Okay, so there's that. I'm not trying to talk people out of this car, but if you're performance oriented and you want to have, you know, all of the telemetry and the ability to track the car, does that have track mode on this one as well?
It does, but you're right. This car you buy for the track.
Right.
You buy this car for the street. This is an everyday driver.
Right.
And it's still just as good. It's got the same engine, the same transmission, and it looks the same. I mean, you look at this car and you can't help but, you know, this is one of those cars that you ride in and you know you look good.
Right. And when you look at the interior between the two cars, they're identical.
Oh yeah.
And the seat, for adjustment purposes, I mean, you've got enough adjustments that if you can't get comfortable in this car, then you don't need to buy this car.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the remarkable upgrades from this compared to last generation Corvette was the seats. The seats are fantastic, and there's 3 options on seats too, so depending on what kind of driving style you're gonna do. Yeah, there's the touring seat here, there's the GT2, and then there's a performance or a competition seat.
Gotcha, and that one would have the slots in the seat for shoulder harnesses.
And the bolsters.
And the bolstering. Well, this one's pretty bolstered up too. Which transmission do they have in this?
So this is the new DCT. So it's an 8-speed automatic.
Okay.
And it's completely new. First time we've ever done a DCT for Corvette. First time we've never had a manual option, but you can put it in manual mode, use paddle shifters so that you're in control.
So I do have to ask, there is on the steering wheel, there's a Z button. What is that?
So Z button, it allows you to configure the vehicle to whatever parameters you want, and then when you hit that button, it takes everything to the ultimate performance level.
Oh,
your magnetic ride, your steering, your brakes, all the performance bits come on when you hit Z mode.
Well, see, I figured if I hit that button, the hatch would come off and I'd get blown out of the driver's seat. So I stayed totally away from it. And speaking of the hatch, let's go back to the meat and potatoes on this car and see what makes this thing run. What do you think?
Best part of the car.
Let's see if I can get this thing open with no problem at all. By the way, check out the Stingray. How cool is that?
Yep.
Yeah. But here we go. There she be. And you can raise it all the way up, and I'm sure that's for maintenance purposes. What you see first off is quite a bit of storage space. And it also will handle the target top.
Yeah, so GM spec is 2 sets of golf clubs. And I've done it, I've tried it. 2 sets of golf clubs will fit back in here.
No kidding.
Oh yeah. And then this, of course, this is the heart of the car. This is the 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 engine, which has been moved from the front to the back, obviously.
Correct.
This car puts out 495 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque, and obviously, since we're able to transfer it back here, the weight distribution is perfect, so it just gets up and goes.
Unbelievable. And if you notice these wires going into these towers, that's your suspension system.
Yeah, so the genius on the suspension system here is the magnetic ride control, which basically allows you, the driver, to turn this car from a touring car that can just go on the highway cruise and just drives like a stick of butter, to a race car that you could take out at the Willow or a super speedway and beat anybody up there.
And why don't we pop the top off of this? I mean, you do it extremely quick and simple, and we're talking, what, 3 latches?
This roof panel can just pop off really easily, and it stores right in the trunk behind the engine. Just lifts off like that.
Look at that. And it actually has a locking mechanism. And this is such, you know, I know you guys put a lot of thought into this, but you just close it.
Soft close.
Oh my gosh, it's just the best. And
yeah, this is the largest body panel on the car.
Yeah.
And it's got a piece of glass in it, obviously, so that you can see that beautiful motor down there.
And what are we making our bodies out of?
So a lot of it's composite. A lot of carbon fiber, composite metal. The frame is all aluminum. It's extremely rigid, even with the target top off, and the convertible is equally as rigid as the coupe.
Right. Now, if you still say, well, geez, you know, I want to carry some more gear, I want to carry some more bags, there's a couple of buttons up front here, easy for you to get at, right there in the driver's door. You lift this lightweight panel up, and you got storage. So you've got more place up front, and you called it
It's a frunk.
You guys.
The front trunk.
And the thing that cracks me up is and I'm sure it was because the government makes you, but you got the escape latch inside here just in case you stuff a small person in here.
I mean, we found kids in very interesting places.
Oh,
so
that's right.
You got to escape.
So it's, you know, to me, it is by far the best bang for your buck, hands down. And it is not, I'm going to tell you as an old man, a midlife crisis car. It is not. If you're not smiling what you're driving, then get out of it.
Yeah.
This is the true car.
Yeah, it's a race car. It's a race car that you could buy in a Chevy showroom.
Yeah.
And when you want to work on it and take it in for routine maintenance, you take it to a Chevy store, and it's not going to break the bank.
Shad, cannot thank you enough. Now I just got to figure out how to keep it. All right, folks, you were watching Cruisin', and don't go anywhere because you can subscribe to that channel, and we are going to be doing a lot more videos down the road. But I got to tell you, so far, this one's #1.